Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to a very special bonus episode of the Startup Junkie. All right, so tonight's episode is by special request because so many of you have reached out to me and say, "Hey, AJ, I really like the state of play where you keep us updated on what's going on as far as the government is concerned, as it relates to stimulus packages, stimulus checks, and more recently, the signed, listen to me, the signed executive order." So what does it mean tonight? I am going to talk to you. I am going to tell you what it is. But again, if you don't know me, my name is AJ. I'm your host of the Startup Junkie. You can catch us live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope / Twitter, as well as IG Live. Not always, but most of the time we do go IG Live. And also, if you get an opportunity, be sure to check out the Startup Junkie Live podcast on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, as well as iHeart Media. So I need to set the stage, play a little music here, and just kind of set the scene. All right, we're going to set the scene because tonight, as I normally bring to you, is the absolute state of play. Let you know what's going on in the government, what specifically, per your requests, what all the executive orders that the current administration, the president of the United States, actually signed, what it means to you, what it means to buy the unemployment boost of $400, what it appears to be and what it actually is, what the rent moratorium is, the halting of evictions. We're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. Feel free to chime in. I see we got people in already. Please drop your comment inside of the chat box and I will acknowledge you. But tonight we're going to get into it. And so I need to set the scene. All right. For tonight's state of play, I need to set the scene. Now, here's the thing about most of you guys who know me. All right. I know the Startup Junkie is about bringing to you content that helps you, with your entrepreneur dreams. Everything from how to promote a personal brand, business brand, how to take an idea, concept from, a feasibility stage to a mock-up to actually to market to where you create what is called a WTP, a willingness to pay from consumers. In other words, you create a product or service and someone is actually willing to pay you for it. I know that that's what this show is all about. And I also know that this show is about, if you have an existing business, sharing strategies with you that allow you to grow and scale your business. I know that that's what this show is about. But again, tonight is the state of play and we're just going to get into it. We're going to talk specifically about what the president signed, and we're going to talk about the Democrats' reaction to that, and we're also going to talk about what it means for you as it relates to a second stimulus check. And it's not necessarily good, but it's not necessarily bad. So what I am going to do, good people, is I'm going to let you hear it directly from the president's in the president's own words, okay? I'm going to let you hear exactly what he did while playing golf at his golf course doing government business. So check it out.
I will act under my authority as president to get Americans the relief they need. And what we're talking about is deferring the payroll tax for a period of months till the end of the year, and I can extend it at a certain period. Hopefully I will be here to do the job. We're going to do the job. We've been doing a job like nobody could. Nobody would, actually. And so we're going to have the payroll tax go till the end of the year, and it'll be retroactive to July 1st. So we're going to go back to July 1st, and it'll go to the end of the year, payroll tax. At the end of the year, it may be extended. We're going to enhance unemployment benefits through the end of the year. So unemployment benefits will be, that's a big one, will be brought out to the end of the year, and defer student loan payments and forgive interest until further notice. So students who are paying student loans, and in many cases they're not even allowed to go back into their colleges. Extend the eviction moratorium. We will be extending that so people aren't evicted. Not their fault.
Okay, all right. So before I give you a breakdown on those 4 different things that the president, those executive orders that the president actually later on signed, which, by the way, the source of that is Fox News. So this was a video that came directly from Fox News for all my friends on the right who says AJ leans too far to the left. And I keep telling you I'm right down the middle. All right. So since I gave it to you from the right, meaning letting the president speak, now it's time to let you hear what the majority leader in the House, Nancy Pelosi, had to say about President Trump's signing of the bills. Check it out.
And joining us now, the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. Madam Speaker, welcome back to Fox News Sunday.
My pleasure to be with you. Good morning, Chris.
President Trump says while you and congressional Democrats were pushing your agenda, he acted yesterday to help people in need. Take a look.
Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer have chosen to hold this vital assistance hostage on behalf of very extreme partisan demands and the radical left Democrats, and we just can't do that.
However it came about, and I know you don't like the executive action, won't millions of Americans now get some extended federal unemployment relief and some protection from evictions? Get that now rather than getting nothing at all.
No, in fact, what the president did is, I agree with the Republican senator said, it was unconstitutional slop. While it has the illusion of saying we're going to have a moratorium on evictions, it says, I'm going to ask you, the folks in charge to study if that's feasible. While he says he's going to do the payroll tax, what he's doing is undermining Social Security and Medicare. So these are illusions, and they really do not, what he calls in our bill, unnecessary. Let's just review the difference. First of all, millions of children in our country are food insecure. Our bill addresses that with tens of billions of dollars. Feed the children. The Republican bill has $250,000. While our bill addresses those who are on the brink of eviction, we use the numbers from the Princeton Eviction Lab and the Low-Income Housing Coalition to...
Okay, so I wasn't going to play the entire interview. That was an interview with Chris Wallace, again on Fox News. Now, let me break this down to you, good people. All right, first and foremost, I'm going to say exactly what my assessment is of each bill that he signed, except for the student loan thing. I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm just gonna focus specifically on what you guys asked me to address. You specifically asked me to address what does it mean as it relates to the unemployment boost, and what does it mean as it relates to, a moratorium. In other words, a halt on evictions. Okay, so let me tell you what it means, and then I'm actually going to give you proof on what I'm saying actually has some validity. So first and foremost, the third thing I definitely have to address, a stoppage of employers taking payroll taxes. Okay, now let's deal with that one first. Okay. Actually, the president doesn't have a constitutional authority to tell to tell employers to stop taking payroll tax. Why is payroll tax so important? Okay, I'm going to share my screen with you real quick. Okay, and I'm going to show you why payroll taxes are so important. All right. If you know right here, payroll tax. Payroll tax covers Social Security and it covers Medicare. All right. So basically, Social Security, all right, and Medicare, they're already pretty much suffering from not having enough funds in order to actually sustain itself, later, say 10, 15, 20 years from now. So if you effectively stop a payroll tax, say if employees and employers don't have to pay it, then you in effect are taking money directly from those programs that take care of those people who have paid into those programs their entire life, and they're receiving, say, SSI, Social Security, all right, and Medicare. You got me, all right? So let me share something else with you about that. Here is the point. And many employers are actually saying this. Don't believe me. Google it. Look it up for yourself. But no worries. I'm going to share something with you in just a second. A news article from CNN that actually breaks everything down that I'm saying to you tonight. All right. Employers that put a halt on paying payroll taxes and taking payroll taxes from employees, those employees will get a big tax bill at the end of the year or however long it's extended, because in that executive order, that money has to be paid back. In other words, you're just getting a break for right now. It's kind of like, okay, we'll give you this money right now, but later on you got to give it to us back, right? Because after all, you still have to pay your payroll taxes. Now, that's a difference for all you tax people out there. You know what I'm talking about. That is a difference between federal tax, okay? Federal tax and payroll tax, that's different, all right? Now, here's the other thing. In effect, by not paying a payroll tax, what is the long-term lasting effect on those employees who, at the end of the day, when the tax bill come, they can't pay? I mean, do they start getting their wages garnished? What happens? All right, so put a pin in that, hold on to that, and let's move on to the second point. The second point is a rental and mortgage moratorium. In other words, halting evictions. Constitutionally, the president can't actually do that. If you go back and read the executive order, it says, I am going to basically commission a study or so, or a group to actually look into whether or not that we could do that. Not to mention, okay, it's only for federally backed mortgages. In other words, because I used to be a real estate investor, I used to have a lot of property, right? Let's just say I have a private mortgage that is not federally backed, okay? And my mortgage is not federally backed. There is nothing. If I have to pay Chase or if I have to pay some other lender, there is nothing that can stop me from evicting someone that has not paid rent. The eviction process typically happens, because I've had to evict people, around 30 days. Okay, after 30 days, then you can start the eviction process. Okay? Now, understand this. There will be a slew of evictions if the HEROES or the HEALS Act doesn't pass. Okay? or at least some form of it, primarily the HEROES Act, okay? Because I don't even think the HEALS Act, which was really not an act, it was really kind of like a proposal by the Republicans, which, by the way, the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has pretty much been absent, okay? Negotiations on stimulus and all of that, and I'm going to tell you why I'm saying this in just a second, has really been happening between the White House and the House Democrats. Okay, so the reason why this is important for you to know, let me break it down. My mic is a little overmodulated, so I'm gonna have to turn it down a little bit. Let me tell you why this is important for you to know. This is important for you to know because signing an executive order that puts halt on rent, that is really not a halt on rent, but more of a study, does not do anything to stop the evictions. So the Senate, which, by the way, is on recess, but Mitch McConnell is still working. They're saying, and I'm talking about the Republicans, he's saying that, hey, look, if I call you, be ready to come back to Washington. Got you. So we can vote on something. But Mitch McConnell along the way couldn't even get half of the Republicans in his own party in the Senate to even agree about even passing the HEALS Act, because they feel like the states already have a bunch of money and the governors are just hoarding the money. Okay? Don't believe me? Look it up. All right? So anyway, here's the deal. So you cannot get a halt on evictions based on the executive order that was signed. So we've covered evictions, and we've covered the payroll tax. Now it's time for us to cover the payroll boost. Okay? I mean, the unemployment boost. The unemployment boost was signed for $400 extra by the president per week to be added. However, there is a caveat, and that caveat is that 75% will be paid for by the government, the federal government, and 25% will be paid for by the states. Many governors are saying, okay, 25% of $400 extra a week is $100. We don't have the money. We're already having a hard time. Okay? So, for those who don't believe me, let me just share this article with you. So this describes basically unemployment benefits. Trump described a memorandum signed Saturday as an action providing an additional extra $400 a week and expanded benefits. But in reality, the additional unemployment aid is more complicated than the White House acknowledged, and experts say it may not help a lot of unemployed. Under the previous unemployment benefit passed by Congress, millions of Americans received an additional blanket $600 a week from the federal government. All right, so here we go. States have to chip in. Under the new Trump measure, the federal government is requiring states to pick up the tab for 25% or $100 of much of the $400. So, good people, don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. This is not a right or left thing. This is a fact thing. The unemployment boost that was signed, only $100. Only $300 of that is coming from the federal government, which is technically half of what you got in CARES Act 1. Okay? $100 is supposed to come from the state. Many, Republican and Democrat governors are saying that they cannot afford to pay that, especially when millions and millions of people are out of work. Okay? Millions and millions of people are out of work. And it's not going to happen, okay? And it also requires a whole new setup to make this thing happen. Before, it was easy. The money would just come from the federal government to these agencies. The agencies would actually distribute the money on top of what they were paying the unemployed already. So it was super simple, super easy. All right, super simple, super easy. But that is not the case. So I'm gonna take you back over here, and I'm gonna read a little bit about the evictions here. Okay, evictions. The executive order action signed by Trump does not reinstate the previous moratorium on evictions, which lapsed in July. The original ban covered mortgages which were backed by federal funds. The nonprofit Urban Institute has estimated that the moratorium covered just over 12 million households. Okay, here we go. Right here. No money is set aside to help homeowners or renters. The action calls for the Housing and Urban Development and Treasury Secretary to identify any federal funds to provide temporary financial assistance to renters and homeowners who are struggling to pay their mortgages and rents because of the current situation. Experts told CNN it is unclear, based on the process laid out by the government agencies, how long it would take for anyone to start seeing funds from this. So, how long it will take, they don't know. See funds. It doesn't actually stop. Again, it doesn't actually stop evictions. But it does say that monies should be directed to actually help struggling people, pay rent and mortgages. But they're actually kind of leaving that to local government. When I say local government, I'm talking about state, okay? State and city, okay? Monies come from the state down to the city. So as you can tell, it's not what it appears to be. So let me share my screen with you one more time. So let's talk about payroll tax. A deferral. Hold on a second. Let me look in the camera. Let me switch cameras too, okay? Did you hear that? A deferral. Did you see that? See that right there? That says a deferral, not a cut. The payroll tax measure that Trump signed Saturday does not actually reduce payroll taxes. It defers the due date for the portion of those taxes paid by employees, minus 6.2% for Social Security and 1.45% for Medicare through December 31st. It applies to workers whose wages are less than $4,000 biweekly, or about $104,000 per year. So, good people, I want you to understand something. It's deferred. You're still going to have to pay that. So just imagine if you're getting this extra money in your paycheck right now, right? What actually happens when you're getting this extra money in your paycheck? You're feeling good. You got a little extra money, right? But at the end of the year, when it's time for you to do your taxes, that's going to be considered income for you. So you're going to have to pay that back. So what am I saying to you? I am saying to you that all that glitters is not gold. Okay? What appears to be is not what it appears to be. It's a damn good political move. I will definitely say that. It's actually genius. What's even more genius is to say that states can't pay the extra $100. So the federal government comes back in and say, hey, tell you what, our administration will pick up the extra 100. No worries. In effect, giving the 400. Now, the signing of these bills, here is the real state of play. All right? This is the real state of play. The signing of the bills is not an incentive for those who did not even want a second bill to even come back and negotiate. You know why? Because they figure, hey, people are being taken care of. There's something out there to stop evictions. There's something out there to defer payroll tax. There's something out there to actually give a boost. So many people in power, when I say in power, I'm talking about in Congress, are not motivated to even negotiate anymore. So how does that affect you? Well, my good people, it affects the possibility of you actually getting a $1,200 check, another check. Why? Because you actually have to come and have a negotiation to bring a stimulus package. Like, this thing has become so complicated. It would seem to me that it would be much easier just to have passed the HEROES Act, which, by the way, the majority leader in the House, Nancy Pelosi, and Chuck Schumer also said that, hey, look, you guys talking to the Republicans, you don't want to sign you don't want the 3.2 trillion. That's what we want. All right. You only want a little bit over $1 trillion. Tell you what, meet us halfway. We'll come down $1 trillion. You come up $1 trillion. So 2.5 trillion. We can take care of a whole lot of people with that. But guess what? The Trump card, that's a reference to playing cards, right? Are the executive orders. So, we don't know if there is going to be a second stimulus check. So let me share my screen with you real quick here. All right. Here we go. Will there be a second stimulus check? And the answer is no, not in the executive orders. Not in the executive orders that were signed. However, because Republicans as well as Democrats both agree that there should be a second stimulus check of at least $1,200 going out, there's a possibility that monies, when the next deal is worked out, that you will get a second stimulus check. The thing is, we don't know when because of the executive orders. So, look, I just wanted to share tonight with you guys, because you asked me to, the state of play, kind of break down what the executive orders were all about, what they are and what they appear to be and what they actually are, right? So just know this, that you should think about doing something for yourself, okay? I'm quite sure there's some things around your house, if you're struggling financially, some things around your house that you can sell. Sell them on Craigslist. Sell them on any of these sites. Sell them on eBay. Setting up an account is pretty easy. Starting your own business is actually easy. I don't actually have the link in this post, but we have offered a free course. There are no strings attached. All you got to do is sign up for it. If you're in Startup Junkie .io Facebook group, which be sure to look it up. Check it out, startupjunkie.io. Look it up, join it, scroll through the feed, and you'll see the free class. All right? So join that free class. It's how to start a business in less than 7 days for under $1,000, taught in 45 minutes or less. So definitely check that out. I appreciate everyone checking us out this evening. I'm your host, AJ of the Startup Junkie. Be sure to check out the Startup Junkie Live podcast on Apple iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, as well as iHeart Media. And also be sure to share. Please share this live stream with someone who you feel like you can benefit, that it can bring some clarity to. This has been the state of play this evening. And be sure to check out the Startup Junkie Live Monday through Friday, multi-streaming across, live videos, live streams across Facebook, YouTube, Periscope /Twitter. And until tomorrow, when we come to you with the Startup Junkie Live, don't know what the topic will be, but it will be relevant. And congratulations to my bro, Adrian Yanez, tonight, who fought on Dana White's contender series and actually earned a UFC contract. All right, so for those in the know, you know what that's about. For those who don't, hey, Google it. All right, so until tomorrow, everyone, take care, y'all.